international level spiritual speaker amongst us. We all wish we were here when 30 years young Swami Vivekananda delivered his historical spiritual sermons to sisters and brothers of America in 1893. Today, we're going to experience the next best thing. After listening to the sermons of Swami Nirbhayananda Saraswati, you will feel that you are seeing the reincarnation of Swami Vivekananda in Swami Nirbhayananda. With his scientific personality and spiritual knowledge, he is going to guide us on how to build a solid foundation of core values and ethics in leading a meaningful life. And after his sermons, you will feel a couple inches taller and prouder that your ancestry, my ancestry, is Indian, because he's going to tell us what India has given to this world. Param Pujya Shri Swami Nirbhayananda Saraswati ji is president of Ramakrishna Vivekananda Ashram in Bijapur, India. In spite of being a science graduate, he took sannyas in 1993 and is spreading the message of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda in a combined corroborative traditional Upanishadic message with a modern appeal. Swamiji's main contribution has been in the opening of Ramakrishna centers in almost all the districts of North Karnataka. And he is the founder and opener of a rural residential school in that area as well. He started Viveka Dipati, a bi-monthly magazine in Kannada. Swamiji represented India in the Fourth World Parliament Religions held in Barcelona, Spain in year 2004. He is the youngest Hindu monks who have participated in World Parliament held till today, with the only exception of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Nirbhayananda participated in an inter-religion dialogue organized by Pontifical Council of Interreligious Dialogues in the Vatican, Italy. Swamiji has toured extensively, covering universities like Stanford, Colorado, and Seoul, and the countries like Spain, the USA, England, France, Austria, Malaysia, and Singapore, etc., where he addressed the students' community and discussed topics of current burning issues. Sensing a message of international understanding of his lectures. Once again, sensing a message of international understanding in his lectures, UPF, which is a consultant for the Economic Social Council of the United Nations, has conferred him the Ambassador of Peace. Swamiji is an honorary member of Italian Hindu Union. He frequently appears on television and his lectures on FM radio about the subject of the Indian educational system have gained tremendous popularity and are available, all these are available on Swamiji's YouTube channel. Swamiji's bi-weekly editorial in Karnataka, prestigious Kannada daily newspaper Vijaya Vani are in the widespread demand. He is a powerful speaker who has addressed the youth, teachers, professors, and professionals alike, and has made a powerful influence on them. Ladies and gentlemen, you probably remember in year 2018, Chicago hosted World Hindu Congress in Lombard, Illinois, where excellent speakers and chosen speakers were invited from all over the world. And Swamiji was one of the eminent speakers in that World Hindu Congress held right here in Chicago in year 2018. Swamiji was invited to participate in that conference, which happened on the 125th anniversary of Swami Vivekananda's Chicago historical speech, which happened in downtown Chicago. Dear devotees, if you look at his face with focus and with concentration, you will feel that his face is radiating peace and knowledge. With all that said, ladies and gentlemen, please get ready to soak every word of Swamiji's pravachan. And now I seek your help in helping me welcome Swamiji by giving him a standing ovation and thunderous applause. Now I request Swamiji, please oblige us with your words.
Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnan Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayoshritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu Namashri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं वीरेश्वरानन्ददयामृताब्धिं श्रीरङ्गनाथं च विज्ञानभानुं चिदानन्दरूप श्रीपुरुषोत्तमार्यं ध्यायन् हृदि स्थां कृतिनं ह्यवैमि. Honorable Shri Om Dhingraji, Honorable Shri Ramesh Ji, Shriman Mehta Ji, and all other dignitaries, dear friends. Let me thank the organizers of this beautiful and meaningful program from the bottom of my heart for having provided me with an opportunity to share a few of my thoughts with you all today in this beautiful premises of Arya Samaj of Chicago. The subject that I have been asked to expound before you today is a very interesting subject. Science as found in the Vedas. What science we find in the Vedas? What sciences Vedas have contributed? That makes a very beautiful theme, a profound theme indeed, but equally interesting also. Remember, the greatest heritage that we Indians can boast of always is this wonderful Veda and the culture that is based on this Vedas. We have a culture, a unique culture, a great culture, a marvelous culture, and the basis of that culture is the Vedas. Veda was not anything that came up overnight. It was not just the whimsical outbursts of some handful of people who felt like saying something, said something, and that has been recorded. Not like that. Vedas have a tremendous anterior. They have a background. They have a preparation. They have a prelude. They have a history. Let not children please disturb. Some children are making some noise and all that. Let that not be so. About the emergence of the Vedas and Vedanta, Vivekananda makes a beautiful observation. On subjects of this kind, it's Vivekananda who first shed light upon, in a language that was authoritative, scientific, and undisputable. What did he say about the origin of the Vedas? How at all Vedas came into existence? It is so interesting to note. Swamiji says at one point, the best and the most brilliant brains of India retire to forest. Please observe every word that he has used. He was an expert in using the aptest words. American newspapers have pointed out this several times. Some newspapers said he speaks English as though it is his mother tongue. He speaks, it seems, he has known by heart the whole of Webster's. Like that, American newspapers used to compliment him and his language too. Swamiji says, saying something about Vedas, the best and the most brilliant brains of India retire to forest and took themselves to the study of man. The best brains of India, most brilliant brains of India, they retire to forest. Why did they retire to forest? They wanted to study man. They wanted to make a study, the subject being the man. What is he? Where from he has come? Shankaracharya puts this beautifully in his Dvadasha Manjari. Kastvam koham Kuta ayataha, kame janani, kome tataha. What is the origin of this man? Are the parents the origin of this man? Or has he got something deeper background? What is it? What is his destiny? Where is he moving towards? Why for he has come? Why for what is the purpose of his existence here? Why he must assume only this physical form? And what are the energies, powers, etc., coiled up in that psycho-physiological frame that we call as human being? All these aspects of human existence were thoroughly studied, deeply studied. That's what Swamiji says. The best and the most brilliant brains of India retired to forest and took themselves to the study of man from all possible angles. Unlike scientists of today, unlike certain thinkers of today, they did not make the study in a partial way, from a limited standpoint of view. Rather, man was studied from all possible angles and they left aside all other pursuits in life to the exclusion of all other pursuits, and the study was carried on for 50 long centuries. Not for a day or two, for 5,000 years, the study was carried out by the brilliant brains of India. The result was Vedas. The result of the study was that is how Vedas came into existence. I think nowhere in the history of human being we see something of this kind emerging out as a result of the rigorous effort put forth by the people that really mattered, people that were of standing as far as their intellectual brilliance, etc., were concerned. This is how Vedas came into existence. Such Vedas definitely must be a repository of all knowledge that are of some use, relevance, benefit today for the mankind. It is in this background that we have to see what really the nature of Vedas is. You can have ample illustrations to prove this point. Several examples can be quoted to prove, yes, what Vivekananda has said is really right. Vedas are so much enriched. They are so affluent in their content. They have so much to give to the mankind today. For example, I can recall to my memory some very interesting incidents that took place in Bangalore some 30, 40 years ago. One of my friends who retired as divisional manager in State Bank of India narrated this to me. He studied in the same college where I studied too, a famous college in Bangalore, National College, known for its reputation and all that. He was pursuing physics in his degree, physics honors, that was his course. In Bangalore, there is a road called as Avenue Road, very famous road, where you see a lot of shops where old books are available for sale. Old books are available for a very cheap rate. Students normally go to such shops, purchase books that are available for a very cheap price, and they make use of these books. One book he observed there one day when he went there. The title of the book was Big Bang Theory, written by a Russian scientist. Being a student of physics, definitely, he grew very much interested to have the book, took the book. It was his wont always that he should first go through the foreword before he would enter into the body of the book. He started reading this foreword. The first sentence that was there in the foreword ran, "This theory was known to ancient Indians." Big Bang Theory is something that surfaced only about 100 years ago or 200 years ago as a result of the study, research, etc., made by the scientific community of recent times. The whole Western Hemisphere knew nothing about Big Bang Theory before 100 years. But a Russian scientist who has nothing to do with India or Hinduism or Vedas, etc., makes this beautiful observation, which is really striking, startling. The very first sentence that he has written there in the foreword ran, "This theory was known to ancient Indians." How at all? How at all? What did those best and the most brilliant brains of India do when they retired to forest? Big Bang Theory was a part and parcel of their research work. They knew about that. They recorded that, and today it is available for us, but we never know about that. The tragedy with Indians is that there is nothing that we don't have. And equally, we are ignorant of everything that is there. This boy, startled at this, rushed to local Ramakrishna ashrama, where normally you come across monks who are well versed both in spirituality as well as in science. Whenever you go normally, Ramakrishna monks, they are well versed in science as well as in spiritual contents, scriptures, etc., etc., Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, so on and so forth. He approached one Swamiji by name Swami Tadrupananda, whom I knew very well too. His brother is still there. His brother is also a monk. He is still there serving Ramakrishna Mission in Bangalore. Asked Swami Tadrupananda, but Swamiji, this book says, and it is written by a Russian scientist. Did we know Big Bang Theory? If at all it is so, where is it found? Where can we come across anything about that? Swamiji told him it is there very clearly in Taittiriya Upanishad. Remember, Upanishads are a part and parcel of the Vedas. Upanishads constitute what we call as Vedanta. After all, what is Vedanta? Vedanta is the essence of the Vedas or the concluding portions of the Vedas. Vedanta means concluding portion of the Veda, or you can even say quintessence of Vedas, or the essence of Vedas, whichever way you can put it, no problem. Taittiriya Upanishad is a part of Vedanta. It is there in Taittiriya Upanishad. Where? Where exactly in Taittiriya Upanishad? The student asked. I want to definitely see it. Where is it found? Swamiji says, see, it runs like this. Tasmadva etasmadatmana akashas sambhutaha. It is there in Taittiriya Upanishad. Akashad vayuhu vayoragnihi agnerapah adbhyah prithvi prithvyam voshadhyah voshadebhyonnam annat purushaha. Very clearly it is said. First it was Atma or it was Brahma. Atmava Akashas Sambhuta. From there, what emerged was air. Akashadvayuhu. What emerged was space. From space emerged air. From air, water. From water, earth. Prithvyam Voshadaya. From there, the plant kingdom. Voshadebhyonnam. From there, human level. Evolution got into human level, human stage. This is exactly what Big Bang Theory says. This is found in the Vedas, but we never know about that. Like that, you can come across several passages of modern science that are found very clearly in the Vedas. The other day, as I was going through one of the treatises written by Amarasimha, who was contemporary of Kalidasa, who was one of the 9 gems in the court of Bhojaraja, as we know the history of India of 7th century, 8th century AD. Amarasimha has written a beautiful book, Amarakosha. Many of you must have been quite familiar with that. One of the passages in Amarakosha says, Agastyaha Kumbhasambhavaha. That means Agastya was born in a pot. The sage Agastya was born in a pot. What does it mean? The baby born in a pot. It is very much akin to what today you call as test tube baby. Agastya was a test tube baby. When was Agastya? What time Agastya belonged to? And it is clearly recorded that he was a test tube baby. Could he be born in a pot or in a test tube unless and until people of those times knew very clearly as to how this concept would be a practical reality at all? Several thousands of years before Buddha, Agastya was born and he was a test tube baby. Perhaps the technicalities and all the subtleties pertaining to the technique must have been quite well developed by those people during those times. Vivekananda says at one point, all sciences have taken their birth in India, they have been only developed elsewhere. We don't know all the details about the sciences that have taken their birth for the reason, fortunately or unfortunately, the rishis were not interested in the secondary details. They would find out something, all the primary details would be unearthed, they would leave it to the posterity to develop other details, the secondary details. That is how they used to always work. They were never interested in elaborations. Perhaps they thought it would be a waste of time to go into the details because once you know the foundation, it's very easy to build the superstructure upon that. Human brain is so much powerful that rest of the things it can take care. An ordinary man can do it. Why should we waste our time in elaborating all the details which are secondary to what we have already found? So thinking, they never bothered themselves with developing the secondary details. Rather, they would shift the subject itself to some other field and invest their energy and time upon finding out all the truths that are involved in that field. That was their attitude. That's how they looked at the things. Their time was very precious, they thought. So, this Big Bang theory, which is found in a very subtle, very precise form, in a very concise form in Upanishad, today has assumed all the secondary details, elaborate details, etc., by the scientists of today, and we see this is so much and all that. But its root is already there in Taittiriya Upanishad, just as there is a reference to the point that Agastya was a test tube baby in Amarakosha, written by Amarasimha, contemporary of Kalidasa. Friends, like this, you can come across any number of instances where we can very clearly prove that Vedas did contain even hints about modern science. Shankaracharya puts it very clearly. While writing the commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he interprets what really Vedas are. Shankara meant there that Bhagavad Gita is the best commentary for the Vedas. That is why he has interpreted what really Vedas are while writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita. His intention was to write commentary on Bhagavad Gita, but right in the beginning itself, he refers to Veda. Dvividho hi Vedokto Dharmaha. 2-3 sentences are there, most beautiful sentences. What does he say? He says, Dvividho hi Vedokto Dharmaha. The dharma that is preached by the Vedas is two-faced. Veda preaches a dharma. Remember, whenever we want to interpret Hinduism, our dharma, Sanatana dharma, call it by any name you want. Unless and until you view it in the light of the Vedas, your interpretation cannot be authoritative. That cannot be accurate. We have to interpret our dharma only in the light of the Vedas because they are the authority. They are the source. They are the origin wherefrom the concept of dharma has emerged. Therefore, Acharya makes it very clear, Dvividho hi Vedokto Dharmaha. The dharma that is put forth, that is projected by the Vedas, is two-faced. It is two-dimensional, two-folded. What is the nature of that dharma? Pravrutti Lakshano, Nivrutti Lakshanascha. The dharma of the Vedas has got two faces. One is Pravrutti Marga and the Nivrutti Marga. It sheds a lot of light upon how to have your Pravrutti properly concluded, properly utilized, properly expressed. Pravrutti means your outward tendency. All the work that you do in the outside world. Dharma, Artha, Kama. Aiming at doing something in the field of Artha and Kama, whatever activity that you do, that is Pravrutti. That Pravrutti also is very much required. Otherwise, material development can never come. Material affluence can never come unless and until you invest your time and energy in the world external, in the nature external. Definitely we cannot have the resources that we want for the development to be assured, for the development to be guaranteed. So Acharya puts it very clearly, Pravrutti Lakshano and Nivrutti Lakshanascha. Once you withdraw your energy, your attention, etc., to work upon the inner world, the inner nature, that comes to be called as Nivrutti. Krishna also very clearly says there are two types of nature, the external and the internal. Outside nature and internal nature. These two natures are the arena where you have to work out all your dreams, your projects, so on and so forth. All your desires will have to be satisfied by investing your time and energy upon the field that you have chosen for working out your project, there in the outside nature as well as in the nature internal. When you invest yourself in the nature outside, you get everything that you need for satisfying your artha and kama requirements, your aspirations. But for your own inner growth, nothing of your achievement outside world will ever help, except to a certain extent. For that, you have to go into the world inside. You have to work upon your projects in the nature that is inside. That is Nivrutti. All those details we come across in the Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, yogas, all the 4 yogas, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, etc., etc. Details we come across. But just to have a touching remark upon that, just to touch upon this concept, one can say there is Veda that gives us a beautiful way of life, which we call as dharma. And this dharma has got two important portions, main portions of dharma, main two topics that dharma deals with, as it is enunciated in the body of the Vedas, is pravrutti and nivrutti. Why do we need this pravrutti and nivrutti? What is the definition of pravrutti and nivrutti? Pravrutti lakshano nivrutti lakshanascha jagataha sthiti karanam. This alone can sustain the world. This alone can stand the world. This alone can support the world. Pravrutti and nivrutti alone can infuse vigor, succor, strength that is required for any society to flourish. Both must be developed. Nivrutti alone cannot make you a complete civilization. Nor pravrutti alone can make you complete civilization. Both the dimensions will have to be properly worked and they will have to be properly enriched. The Greek civilization, the Roman civilization, etc., they laid undue importance. They emphasized so much on the world external to the neglect of the world inside, and therefore, with one force, with one bang, the whole civilization was blotted out. It became obliterated. Greek civilization suffered that way, Roman civilization suffered that way, Persian civilization, Egyptian civilization suffered that way because those civilizations did not develop human culture in all its dimensions. They were not complete civilization. And unless and until you fulfill the expectations of nature, your existence is short-lived. Mother nature, call it mother nature, call it divine dispensation, call it God, call it by any name that you want. Unless and until you are working out your ways along the lines that it has propounded, it has laid forth, probably you incur its wrath, and your existence is not anything that it wants to entertain. Your existence is not anything that it is going to enjoy. It will simply obliterate you out. It will remove you. It will blot you out. That is why Greeks failed, Romans failed, Persians failed, Egyptians failed. India did not fail here. See the contrast. No country in this world has suffered as much as India, even a fraction that India suffered. For thousands of years, we suffered because of the foreign yoke upon our shoulders, like anything, undue, untold miseries we went through. But still we survived. We still survived for the reason we are the civilization that is ideal. We are the civilization that can be the exemplary for the rest of the world. We are the civilization that has assimilated into its body all the expectations, requirements that nature wants. Therefore, nature has preserved us through all our vicissitudes. A fraction of the blows that we have received at the hands of the foreign powers, all other civilizations have disappeared and they have never turned back. They have never returned. This very important subtle factor every history professor should know. Every serious student of human history should know, and we have to come to understand where exactly lies the power with which we can sustain anything, power with which we can stand any blow, power with which we can definitely work out the schemes and projects that we have for our own development in all possible ways, in every sense of the term. These are all very important issues. So, pravrutti lakshano, nivrutti lakshanascha, the dharma that is propounded on the soil of India has these two faces, two dimensions, pravrutti and nivrutti, and because jagataha sthiti karanam, jagat can sustain, it can remain, it can have its flourishing existence only when these two dimensions, collective dimensions, are properly taken care of. Pravrutti and nivrutti, jagataha sthiti karanam, प्राणिनाम साक्षात अभ्युदय निश्रेयस हेतु यस्य धर्मः. What is dharma? Dharma is the one that can contribute for abhyudaya of the mankind and also nishreyasa. Abhyudaya means the material development that one can achieve in the world outside. Nishreyasa is the spiritual development that one can achieve inside. The material development must always take place to the accompaniment of the spiritual development correspondingly. Spiritual development alone, paying all your attention to the world inside only, never bothering about the requirements of the outside world, will not do. Ishavasya Upanishad makes a very clear declaration about that. And emphasizing only upon the external development to the neglect of your internal growth, that also will not do. West suffered. Right from Greek civilization to Egyptian civilization, West suffered that way. India also suffered because it laid undue importance for the internal development, neglecting all the external requirements. Even that cannot take place. Acharya Shankara, way back in 8th century itself, he has warned indirectly, very clearly he has defined as to how the true force, the true strength of civilization should be. Any serious nation builder should take all these things into consideration. The people that framed Vedas, they took this into consideration. Therefore, Vedas that can today be counted as the Constitution of India, eternal Constitution of India. So many constitutions come, so many constitutions go. But there is an eternal constitution, which we call as Vedas. It has taken these two aspects very seriously, and it has provided for the development of these two in an elaborate way, to the extent that they could, to the extent that we wanted. Wonderful, marvelous work. This is the nature of the Vedas. And therefore, it is quite obvious that nature, Vedas has provided space for the sciences also, because for Abhyudaya purpose, for the external development, we need sciences. Vivekananda also makes some sort of a remark which is quite relevant at this point. Swamiji says, how human problems can be solved. While referring to this point, Vivekananda says, man must become a new kind of man. Problems are understandably many. He says like this, problems are understandably many, but the solution is one. This is the greatness of India, Indian thought. We don't have 100 solutions for 100 problems. The greatness of India lies in the fact that for every problem, for the whole set of problems, we have one solution which can answer all the problems in an effective way. One solution is enough for every type of the problem that you are faced with in your life. No other civilization, no other culture has developed it. India alone has developed it. That is where the superiority of our culture lies, our civilization lies. In the Mundukopanishad, we come across a beautiful point. Shishya, or the student, asks a question to the teacher. What a beautiful question, revolutionary question. Student asks the teacher, Sir, kasminno bhagavo vijnate sarvam idam vijnatam bhavati. What a marvelous thing. He asks, Sir, what is it by knowing which I can know all? See the audacity of the man. He doesn't want to know just physics. He doesn't want to know just economics. He doesn't want to know just mathematics. He wants to know everything. Everything under the sun should be known to me. I am not interested in departmentalization of your knowledge. I am not at all interested in division of the knowledge. Once I lay my hand upon something means I should be able to get to the whole of whatever I want. All human aspirations must be fulfilled in one stroke. That is the sort of the attitude I have. That is the sort of the hunger I have. And I should achieve. Or else, what is the meaning for human existence at all? A human being is the most glorious being in Indian culture. He is sleeping God. He is equal to God. The only difference between God and man, according to Indian culture, is God is a lion that is woken up, lion that is awake, and a human being is a lion that is sleeping. That is all the difference. This is sleeping lion, and that is lion that is awake. Just wake it up. That is all. The only service one can do to any human society, any human being, is to simply wake him up. Uttishtata, Kathopanishad long ago declared. Uttishtata means wake up. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapyavaran Nibodhata. Wake up yourself. Swamiji gives a beautiful call. Teach everyone his true nature. Come out of this hypnotism of weakness. Teach everyone his true nature. Call upon the sleeping soul. Wake him up. Call upon the sleeping self. Wake up the soul. Call upon the sleeping soul. And see what happens. Power will come. Purity will come. Glory will come. Goodness will come. Everything that is excellent will come once the sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. So this is all the thing that we need to do. Wake up the lion that is sleeping, and lion will take care of itself. You need not do any other thing. Every human being is a sleeping lion. The only thing that you have to do is to wake him up. This is why India simply laid all emphasis upon every sort of trick, or every sort of the means and way whereby the sleeping human beings can be woken up through the Vedas and Upanishad and all that. So here in the Mundukopanishad, the student asks the question, Sir, what is it by knowing which I can know all? Kasminno bhagavo vijnate sarvam idam vijnatam bhavati. Sarvam idam vijnatam bhavati. His question is, I want to know everything. My point is, when a student can ask, what is it by knowing which I can know all? You think he might not have or he would not have asked another question like, sir, what is it by having which I can have all? By having which I can have everything. Would he not have asked that question? Quite obvious after some time, after some years, after the completion of his education, he must have asked this question also. Sir, what is it by having which I can have everything? Keeping this in view, Vivekananda comes to our rescue and he sheds beautiful light upon the point that's quite pertinent. Swamiji says, problems are understandably many, but the solution is one. No one has said that. Vivekananda says it, but the solution is one. What is that solution? Man must become a new kind of man who simultaneously being scientific and spiritual eventually becomes free. Mark every word he has used. Problems are understandably many, but the solution is one. Man must become a new kind of man. That is the only solution. If you are not prepared to give up your old cloth, shed your old cloth and wear a new cloth, if you are not prepared to give up your attitude, old attitudes, etc., and accept some new sort of an, because your attitude, your altitude. The greatest, according to William James of Harvard University, one of the greatest psychologists in recent times, he says the greatest invention in 20th century is that men can change themselves by changing their attitudes. Change your attitude. Yeah, of course, Shankaracharya said this long ago. Druk, drishya viveka. Change your druk, the drishya will change. Change your drushti, the srushti will change. Druk, drishya viveka, drushti, srushti viveka, they all mean one and the same. So, men can change themselves by changing their attitudes. Swamiji says, who simultaneously being scientific and spiritual eventually becomes free. This new kind of man, what is this? What is the feature of new kind of man? What qualities he will have, that's a different thing. What I mean is, this pravrutti, nivrutti, etc., 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 all can be achieved with one stroke. That is, you have to become a new kind of man. How to become a new kind of man? All these details are there. What I mean is, science, which will be the panacea for all our problems that we come across in the world outside, did not escape the attention of the rishis that framed the Vedas. They laid so much emphasis upon the physical science also, as much as they laid the emphasis upon the spiritual science, upon the spiritual field. Therefore, Vedas are the repository of various sciences that one can come across. Ella Wheeler Wilcox, an American novelist, who happened to meet Swami Vivekananda during the time that he was here, she happened to evince some interest about the study of the Vedas, did study Vedas, and came out with a marvelous observation. She says, India, the land of the Vedas, the remarkable works, contains not only religious ideas for a perfect life, but also facts which science has proved true. Electricity, electronics, radium, airships were all known to the rishis that founded the Vedas. This is not an observation by a Hindu, much less a fanatic Hindu, not even the observation of an Indian. Lady belonging to America, Ella Wheeler Wilcox, a poetess, a novelist, and TV artist, she says Vedas have found out, given all the details about electricity, electronics, airships, radium, etc., etc. That is the nature of the Vedas. So, Agastyaha Kumbhasambhavaha, Agastyaha Kumbhasambhavaha, Agastya was a test tube baby. You need not be surprised at that. And so many other things like Big Bang theory, you need not be surprised at that. All these things definitely are such that they could have found their place in the Vedas. And one more thing that I would like to point out here is about the recent most concept that we are seeing in modern science, that is quantum physics. Yesterday, I gave some explanation about this while I delivered the talk in that Hindu temple. Quantum physics is finding its answer. So many enigmatic questions are there today in quantum physics. Either they have to find their answers from Vedas, from Indian thought, or they have no answers at all for that. And what is the answer? What is the problem that they are facing? Today, scientists have come to the conclusion that building material of the universe is not matter. It is not an object. All these days they were saying atoms constitute everything. Later they said, no, there are subatomic particles, electron, proton, neutron, etc., are there. Afterwards, further research revealed more than 230 subatomic particles are there, mesons, leptons, baryons, etc. Oh, we should recall to our memory now that the lightest particle so far that has been found out is boson, the inventor of which is an Indian scientist, Satyendranath Bose, who worked in collaboration with Albert Einstein. Boson, etc., they are the building material of the universe. Even that search has not come to an end, and scientists are not happy with what they have been saying, but somehow they are satisfying their curiosity by saying and improving upon what they have said, further improving upon what they have said, and even today, the convincing conclusions they are not in a position to reach. Finally, they have come to a conclusion which is almost acceptable because it is in total concurrence with the invention of Indian seeds or the seeds of the Vedas. What is it? It is consciousness, Chaitanya. Chaitanya is the most fundamental, ultimate, elemental substance of which the whole universe is made. But here also there is one enigmatic question. Scientists are faced with some sort of a riddle. What is it? Consciousness is something that is singular. But the world that we see outside is full of plurality. No two noses are alike. No two fingerprints are alike. Everywhere we see marked difference, of course, in a very subtle way, between any two entities. But consciousness is strikingly singular. There cannot be any difference between two objects at all if all those objects are made of consciousness only. Invariably, every object is made of consciousness. If that is so, there should not be any difference between two objects. But there is striking difference between any two objects. Father of quantum physics is Erwin Schrödinger. Erwin Schrödinger developed a headache at this. What to do? What to do in this regard? He says, in the whole world, there is no framework where consciousness is found in the plural. It is singular for which there is no plural connotation at all. It is singular. But we see multiplicity everywhere. It is based on, it is our own construction. If at all we see plurality, it is not fact, it is not reality, it is only an appearance. The singular consciousness appears as plurality for us. The defect is with the way we are seeing. Can Vedas solve it? Long ago Vedas have solved this problem. You know what do they say? You can never see thing as it is as long as you are there in the waking state. Modern physics is yet to come to this conclusion. They are all kindergarten babies, never prepared to come into the heart of the Vedas and find out the things that they are in search of, they are wanting. Long ago we have found out. Consciousness will be in 4 different stages. We have said that. We all know Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti and Turiya. Vedanta says, Vedanta, what is Vedanta? Vedas only. Consciousness can operate in 4 different ways. We are all presently, we are in one state of consciousness that we call as Jagrat. One type of consciousness is functioning through us. After some time we go to sleep. There also some activity will be going on. The gross body will not be doing anything, but the subtle body will be very much operative. Now both the subtle body and the gross body, they are in operation. Because the nature of consciousness that is working through the system presently is like that. When you go to sleep, when you are into some dream, body will not be doing anything, but mind will be doing everything that it can. That is another state of consciousness, that is swapna, swapnavastha. If you don't have any swapna, if you don't have any dream, but you are fast asleep, you are into deep sleep, there will be some sort of an awareness. What is that awareness? Not knowing anything. After you get up from that deep sleep state, you will definitely say, I was so happy, I didn't know anything. To say I didn't know anything means you need some sort of a consciousness. Stone cannot say whether it knows anything or it doesn't know anything because it doesn't have any consciousness. It has, but it is totally rigid, it is totally dense, it is totally dull, and therefore it cannot know that even it cannot know that it cannot know anything. But in our case, it is not so. In deep sleep state, we can very clearly say, I was so happy, I was fast asleep, I didn't know anything. That is all the sort of the consciousness that can help you that way at that state. There is another state of consciousness which we call as transcendental state or turiya, where consciousness is not caught up in your mind, in your manassu, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. These are the four things through which consciousness works normally. Mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, dinaham. Acharya Shankara puts it in Nirvana Shatakam. Mano, manassu, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. All these four are absolutely not, they are silent, they are dead. Mano nasha. Mano nasha, that is the goal of life for every sensible man. They are all almost dead. Their consciousness reigns supreme. That is where you become a Purna Prajna. Your Prajna is Purna. Till then it is partial. Therefore, unless and until you see a thing when you are in that Purna Prajna state, you can never know anything completely and correctly. This is what Indian seers, people that founded the Vedas, have long ago declared. See the range of work that Vedic seers have done. Can we ever imagine? Today we are in, this is what Berkeley Professor Fritjof Capra has said. You all know Fritjof Capra, the man that has written that marvelous book, Tao of Physics. Berkeley Professor Swami Ranganathananda, who was, I think, the 13th president of Ramakrishna Mission, was a close friend of Fritjof Capra, and Fritjof Capra received so many inputs from Swami Ranganathanandaji, marvelous personality, whom I refer to in my shloka, Vijnana, Sri Ranganathancha Vijnana Bhanu, the son of knowledge that he was. People say he was Vivekananda reborn, that sort of a personality. Fritjof Capra says about what Indians have done, the scale of this ancient myth, is indeed staggering. He refers to Indian seers, Vedic seers, Indian rishis. The scale of this ancient myth is indeed staggering. It has taken mankind more than 2000 years to come up again with similar concepts. He says what India discovered 2000 years ago, today we are touching upon, we are knocking at the doors of. Not 2000 years, it is almost 20,000 years, 10,000 years you can say, not 2000 years. But Westerners, they have their own bias, they have their own prejudices, etc. While dealing with Indians, that is a different thing. So long ago, we have found that unless and until you keep yourself on the Purna Prajna state, you can never know anything correctly. Accuracy will be something which will be always evading. That will be the one thing that will be evasive. Accuracy will never come to you. It will go on evading itself. Therefore, look at the things in your Turiya Avastha. That is why meditation is something that every child has to be taught right from his kindergarten level. Because that is one way whereby you can attain to the transcendental state. And unless you attain to transcendental state, my dear scientific community, understand, you can never know anything perfectly. That is why every 50 years, scientists of the West, they have been changing their version. Dalton says something, Rutherford says something, Einstein says something, Heisenberg says something. Every 100 years, every 50 years, why they are changing their version? While what Vedic seers found out 15,000 years ago, we have not changed the version even once. They have said things in such an accuracy that there is no need for anyone to modify what they have said, even to the extent of one sentence or one word. Why? The scientific community goes on changing its version every 50 years. Where is the difference? Because you see things in the waking state, while seers of Vedas saw the things in their transcendental state. Vedas are the accumulation of all the observations they made in the transcendental state, and therefore not a word, not a sentence of the Veda is such that it can be disputed by anyone. Paul Deussen says this, a great German savant, German Indologist. Paul Deussen says, you know what did he say? Whatever may be the discoveries of modern science, none can dispute the seers of Upanishads. This is what he said. Whatever may be the discoveries of modern science, none can dispute the seers of the Upanishads. True? So, in this background, let us see what Schrodinger has said about the building material of the universe. The building material of the universe is consciousness, which is singular, but in our everyday experience, we see everything in multiple state. Nothing is singular. Things are not singular. Things are not similar. Why? Because the seeing is very much defective. The way you are seeing that the one Brahman is appearing as many. Even India provided solution there also, because there is Maya between what is being seen and what is seeing. Between the Drik and the Drushya, there is some interference. There is some medium that is playing its trick, that is Maya. Remove Maya and you see thing as it is. That's a different thing. Schrodinger's observation is, so consciousness is singular, while everyday experience we see only multiplicity. What a conflict. Schrodinger goes on to say, the only solution to this conflict, insofar as any is available at all, lies in the ancient wisdom of the Upanishads. Solution to quantum physics is being provided by Upanishads. Friends, not one, not two, not three, all the problems today scientific community is facing can have its solution from that wonderful literature that you can call as the Vedas. Therefore, Vedas are not just a literature. Veda Shiva, Shivo Vedaha, Vedadhyayi Sadashivaha, Tasmat Sarva Prayatnena, Vedameva Sada Jape. That's an observation made by some great man in India. Veda Shiva, Shivo Vedaha, Vedadhyayi Sadashivaha, Tasmat Sarva Prayatnena, Vedameva Sada Jape. Swami Vivekananda, while discussing about how the masses of India can be uplifted, this was one question that was bothering Vivekananda like anything. Remember, in his whole lifetime, only 2 nights he slept properly. Only 2 nights he slept. The rest of the nights he never slept. What he used to do? He used to weep profusely. No sooner had he retired to his bed, he would get up, silently sitting on the bed, always weeping. His attendant, personal attendant, later recounted, sometimes the bedspread had to be changed twice because it would become drenched. So profusely he would be shedding tears. For what? Seeing the plight of the motherland, seeing the plight of his mother. Such a patriot person, we can never imagine. You can never imagine. Only 2 nights he slept. The plight of motherland would loom large before his eyes, and he would never sleep later. He himself says at one point, only 2 nights I have slept in my life. All other nights I have not been able to sleep. Vivekananda had a solution for how to raise the masses. Unlike what present day government is doing after we got our independence. Give them some reservation. Give them some economic help. That will solve all their problems. No, it doesn't solve all their problems. It has not. Clearly we can see it has not solved all their problems. Then what was the solution Vivekananda had? Teach them the Vedas. Teach them Sanskrit. Teach them the Vedas. But we never do. Government doesn't bother. Government doesn't want the conditions of the masses to be improved at all. They don't give an expression to it openly, but that is very much there clearly in their mind. They never want it. As long as they are steeped in ignorance and poverty, these politicians will have their trick, will have their play continued. Once they become aware of their rights, they develop that ability to look at things in a way that they should. These people will have no currency at all. They very clearly know. They are convinced of it, and therefore, indirectly or directly, they are doing everything possible to see that those conditions are not improved. Swamiji says, I want to raise this country through the infallible Vedic mantras. I want to raise this country through the infallible Vedic mantras. Buddha tried to improve the conditions of the masses. He did to a certain extent, but one remarkable mistake he did. What was the mistake? He gave the theme to the masses. He gave spirituality to the masses. He gave the essence of scriptures, but he forgot, rather he neglected to teach Sanskrit and Vedas to the masses. Unless and until you impart knowledge of Sanskrit and knowledge of Vedas to a person in India, his social prestige, his dignity will not improve. It will not be lifted. Indian soil has got its own characteristic feature. Any movement, any person that opposes Vedas will be kicked out by the soil of India. Buddha failed there. Buddha did not accept the Vedas. The result is that it has been kicked out within 1,000 years of his emergence. Just one man, one young sannyasi was enough to throw away the whole of Buddhism out of the Indian border. For the reason Buddhism had weakened itself internally. It was just waiting for 1 year to blow it off, and the year came from the mouth of Shankaracharya. Vivekananda knew all this. He was highly sensitive, a brilliant mind that he had, and therefore he made this remark: I want to impart to the masses Vedic knowledge and Sanskrit knowledge. Once a man knows Vedas, once a man knows Sanskrit, the land will respect him. His social prestige will lift up. He will be accepted as guru in the society. That is how the conditions of the masses can be improved. This is the power that is put into the body and the mass of Vedas by the rishis that founded them. Friends, like this, we have so many things pertaining to the glory of the Veda. In one lecture or in 2 lectures, I cannot conclude it. We need a series of lectures, minimum about 4 or 5 lectures, to clearly depict what really is the nature of the Vedas, where, in which Veda, in which form. One thing I can sum up: even the modernmost scientific discovery has its origin, has its basis in the Vedas, and if we can seriously take up the study of the Veda in a way that it should be taken up, in a scientific way, we will come out with solutions for every sort of the problem, be it of science, be it of social nature, be it of economic nature, be it of any nature, because that is the fund of the treasure of knowledge that the ancient seers have presented to us. They have bequeathed to us. It is our duty to understand the greatness of this heritage we have got, what we have inherited from our ancestors. We should be able to know and understand and appreciate. Vivekananda knew it. Several times he has said, I am one of the proudest men ever born on this earth, and I trace my pride to my ancestry. Vivekananda has said that. I am one of the proudest men ever born on this earth. But what is the basis of my pride? And I trace my pride to my ancestry. Very clearly he meant ancestry means Vedic rishis. The religion founded by Vedic rishis was something that attracted him like anything, even though he was an ardent follower of Buddha. He had highest respect and regards for Buddha. But as far as religion is concerned, clearly he has said, the religion that Buddha preached does not appeal to me. As far as religion is concerned, it is the word of the Vedic seers that is always final. And that is how the glory of the Veda is extolled, praised, sung by people like Vivekananda in all possible ways. It is such a great thing. We have to take up some serious study of this so that we can enrich ourselves in every possible way that a human being is supposed to. I thank the authorities for this great opportunity. And before that, I would like to just present before you one very interesting incident that took place in the life of Thomas Alva Edison. Edison found out gramophone, and he wanted to record a human voice in that. It was a remarkable and revolutionary discovery. He was thinking, whose voice I should record here? Who is the sort of the person whose voice must be recorded? Remember, Edison was a Christian. He could have come to Pope Vatican and recorded his voice. He never did that. He could have gone to President of America because he belonged to America. He could have gone and recorded the voice of American president. He did not do it. All the way from America, he came to England. He came to Oxford. He approached Professor Max Muller and put a request, sir, please, I want to record your voice. Max Muller felt very happy at that. And he uttered something that was clearly recorded. But what was uttered was something quite enigmatic for Edison himself. Edison could not understand head and tail of it. Sir, what is it that you said? I don't understand. I don't make out anything of it. What is it? Max Muller says, this is the earliest utterance that human history has ever recorded which contains the grandest message, the likeness of which we are yet to come across till today. And what was it? It was the first verse of Rig Veda. Agnime purohitam yajnasya deva mritvijam hotaram ratnadhatamam. This is what he had done. Max Muller, a German-born British citizen, Right Honorable Professor Frederick Max Muller, whom Queen Victoria would respect a lot. Indian Viceroy would seek the counseling every time he wanted to take a decision. Such a respectable man who did not belong to India, who did not belong to Hinduism, who did not belong to Vedic cult, had so much of respect for the Vedas. What about us? Where do we stand? Vivekananda invited Max Muller to India. Professor, what a marvelous service you have done to my country. Please come there. At which Professor's reply was, I am already living in the Benares of my dreams. I am already living in the Benares of my dreams. I do not want to come there and risk a disillusionment. And his name was changed as Moksha Muller. Moksha Muller. Here, Emerson, who made a study of Bhagavad Gita and all that, at one point he says, I believe in the theory of transmigration. Nature has made a Brahmin of me presently. Emerson says it. Thomas Carlyle was of the same opinion. Every leading thinker, every notable thinker in the West has paid glowing tributes to the Vedas. Such a wonderful thing it is that was discovered, founded some thousands of years ago, but it appears something very new to us. The true torchbearers, who are supposed to have been the true torchbearers of the Vedas. Therefore, I call upon, and I would like to remind you all that is our innate responsibility, our onerous responsibility, that we have to evince some interest in the study of this, and I think we are going to do it from now onwards as much as that is possible for us. I thank the authorities for this great opportunity. Thank you so much.